Hey friends, it's Nikayla from the podcast Side Hustle Pro. I'm always looking for ways to keep my kids entertained without screens, and the Yoto Mini has been a total lifesaver. My kids are obsessed. Yoto is a screen-free audio player where kids just pop in a card and listen. Hours of stories, music, podcasts, and more, and no screens or ads. With hundreds of options for ages 0 to 12, it's the perfect gift they'll go back to again and again. Check it out at yotoplay.com. YOTOPLAY.com.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my site softer?
Can I make my site firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. Enjoy personalized comfort for better sleep night after night. It's our Black Friday sale. Recharge this season with a bundle of cozy, soothing comfort. Now only $17.99 for our C2 mattress and base, plus free premium delivery. Prices higher in Alaska and Hawaii. Check it out at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com today.
Hi, I'm Paul Sculfor, and this is Sober Awkward.
The kettle's boiled, Vic.
Great. Perfect timing. Just a dash of milk for me, please, mate.
Here you go. Shall we get started then?
Have you ever woken up on a Sunday morning and said, I'm never drinking again, and then found yourself waving $50 at a barman by happy hour?
Are you wondering why everyone else can stop at 1 while you head to a dodgy after-party with a weird bloke called Disco Dave? If so, it might be time to take a deeper look at your relationship with your reliable social crutch, alcohol.
On each episode, we'll investigate our own dysfunctional dealings with booze and find out if it's possible to stop this deeply ingrained habit before things get too messy.
Yep, we're going to open up a shame shed of humiliating drinking stories to help you understand why waking up from a booze coma each weekend with a kebab sticking out of your top pocket might actually be negatively impacting your health.
Hamish and I are here to delve into what it's like being sober, an unwanted warts and all look into why giving up those cheeky pints or putting down those mummy wines will make you feel happier, help your anxiety and mental health, and turn you into the most sparkly, authentic version of you.
Won't that mean I become boring though, Vic?
Well, Hamish, we'll just have to wait and see. I'm Victoria Vanstone.
I'm Hamish Adams-Cairns.
And this is Sober Awkward.
You may recognise Paul Sculfor as the UK's first supermodel, who was once labelled by Attitude magazine as the face that's worth $1 million. In the 90s, Paul would work with the biggest brands and photographers in the world. Starring in over 40 global TV commercials, he is an actor, a podcaster, a mindset coach, a TV presenter, including as head judge on Britain's Next Top Model. He is also a husband and a dad of 2 daughters. But there is much more to Paul than all of this. 2024 marks 10 years since he founded the Stride Foundation, which supports those in need through recovery. And Paul is today 20 and a half years sober. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much for an introduction.
Not at all. How are you doing today, Paul?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm good. I was a little bit late, as you know, so I apologise about that. But I'm very good, actually. I am having a good morning. We had a fun Halloween last night and had a little crazy party for my children. And we're cleaning up this morning.
Yeah, we've got suddenly the awkward age where he's sort of scared of everything to do with Halloween, but he wants to be a part of it. So we couldn't go dress out as monsters. We had to keep it all very PG, quite Disney characters. All day he was going, that's a spider, but it's not real. It's not real. So that weird, a slightly weird age. So over the course of our chat today, I want to cover lots of different aspects. I want to go through your career in the modelling industry. I want to talk about the role that drinking played within it. We'll talk about the steps you eventually took to get sober and discuss what your life looks like today. But it sort of makes sense to start at the beginning. So Gabor Mate said that the question is not why the addiction, but why the pain. And in almost every interview I do with someone who is sober, you don't have to scratch too much to uncover some childhood trauma. And sadly, in studying yours, there does seem to be a fair bit. You had a horrible neighbour who we don't need to say too much about, but he made your life a misery. And also your mum, when you were just 9, she had neural fibrants, which means she'd spent a lot of time in hospital, and you were under the impression that might kill her. For those of us that don't know what neural fibrins is, what is neural fibrins?
I don't actually know exactly. She suffered from a type of neurofibroma. It makes you grow your body big tumours inside, and they're pretty much benign themselves, but they cause a lot of damage around them. So my mum had a large one in her brain, which caused neurological problems, and she had two large ones in her neck, which was damaging the spinal cord. So her particular case, she was in hospital it was between 9 months and a year on and off. They didn't know at the time because they thought it was cancer. So she was very, very unwell. And she ended up having three, I think one was 7, 9, and I can't remember the other time of the operation. But she went down, for those who know, went down sort of 5.5 stone and was pretty much in a bad way for quite some time. So as a child, it was quite horrific to see and not understanding, because obviously at the time she was on a lot of medication, so she didn't make much sense. And a young child, that's quite scary.
How was it described to you as a child? How were you sort of explained this is what's going on with mum?
Yeah, good question. So my dad's very Victorian, so we didn't know anything about it. And he just said, we come home one day from school and was basically asking, where's mum? And my dad was just like, she's not here. Obviously, we know, that's why we're asking. And we wasn't told. We just said, she's busy, she's away, she's doing something. And it was very odd because my mother was a very loving character and wouldn't leave us for any particular reason. So then we got wind that she wasn't too well, but we didn't know what was happening. And then finally, I don't know when this was, but my dad got a phone call saying that she doesn't have cancer and she's got a good probability of surviving. And he got quite emotional, and I've never seen my father get emotional. So that was a big day for us. And then he come down and said that she's going to be okay, she doesn't have cancer. And we were just looking at him like, I thought she was away working on holiday. What do you mean?
Oh no, the story came out.
It was a little bit confusing, but that was a good day.
And I know that you describe yourself as an anxious kid. You had this tendency to pull your hair out. Were you anxious before your mum got ill, or do you think that was literally triggered by that?
Yeah, it's a really good question. And what you said about Gabor Mate is correct. And everything's personal, isn't it? What can traumatize someone else might not traumatize someone. So I think the fact my father wasn't around a lot when I was younger, and I have a fantastic relationship with him today, but he had quite a temper, and if he drank, he was pretty scary. And I think as a young child, I took it upon myself to sort of be the guardian of my mum, even though I was younger. So I was always like on guard for her and hyper aware. And a couple of things happened. I had, like I said before, I had something with a neighbour that would hurt me in lots of physical ways, and I think that didn't help. So there was lots of things thinking I'm on guard. My dad's not here. If we come in, he's pretty angry, or the thing with the neighbour. So yeah, it wasn't a very settling upbringing. And I think I definitely, like looking at my two children, one of them's quite an anxious child, not in a horrible way, but she's very aware. She's very soft. She's gentle with the other one. And the other one's like a little pit bull. She just doesn't care. So I think you kind of born into this life of a different personality. And I was definitely the softer one. So I probably reacted more to my surroundings.
Your dad getting angry when he drank, was that your first experience of seeing alcohol and seeing the effect it could have on people?
Yes, I would say we had, this is the 70s we're talking about, and everyone, I don't say everyone, but pretty much most people were drinking. Life would be in pubs on weekends and stuff. For us, there was lots of neighbours that were drinking heavily. So it was around us and we knew, and it was just a thing they did. But what I noticed early on was that all the jollies would turn into something not very nice at one point. And that's the bit. To be honest, I'm quite an empath, and I can feel someone switch. And I could feel someone switch when I was younger to being okay to then something was going to happen. And I was quite sensitive to that. And I had that before, but with my dad, he was probably the first person, because it was inside the house that I saw that alcohol could do damage to people.
And I think anyone that goes through a challenging upbringing begins to look for ways of escape. You seem to find a few, and typically the story is, they found alcohol and drugs and that was the story. For you, it really wasn't that at the start by any means. By the sounds of it, you found sport, gymnastics, you're an amateur boxer. What did sport give you? What did athletics give you as a means of escape?
That's a really good question. I would say on a chemical level, lots of dopamine and serotonin,
Sure. Yeah.
which I wouldn't have known about then. But it gave me freedom. I just loved to run, jump, and play. I just was really this energetic child, and movement gave me the feeling of freedom and achievement. And it's the opposite of anxiety and cowarding, So as a gymnast, I was really good at the box, I was really good at the rings. I just loved. There was some sort of level of strength that I enjoyed, and the feeling of an inner confidence that you can do this, you can climb, you can run. And to be honest, there was probably a little bit in the back of my mind that if I'm like that, I can get away from anything. There was probably that thought, to be honest. And the same with trampoline. I just loved the feeling of flying and the strength of the body and the feeling of movement inside. And with boxing, I just loved the art of boxing. And what boxing gave for me was it gave me a stillness, and it gave me an inner confidence. What people make a mistake about boxing is they think it's aggressive and they think it's about anger. You won't last very long if that's the case. It's completely different. It's a very as an athlete, it's kind of like a calming thing. Your mind's quite calm. The fight's played out slowly, and it gave me a confidence to realize, oh, actually, being punched on the nose by another guy pretty hard doesn't do anything. You're full of adrenaline. You don't feel anything anyway. A couple of days after, you might feel a bit of dry blood or bruising. But so it gave me a little bit of, oh, okay, actually, I'm probably okay. I'm not as vulnerable as I felt as a younger guy. So it gave me lots of things. And I think what I was looking for was camaraderie. And what that gave me, when you're in a team, you get the feeling of belonging. And if you're good at what you do, then you get a bit of admiration and belonging. And those two things are quite healthy, I think, for anyone, really.
That vulnerability aspect you just mentioned is interesting because, I think you said you felt vulnerable yourself. Do you think that then becoming this sort of athletic boxing facade, are you tricking yourself that, I'm not this vulnerable thing, I'm actually a tough guy? Do you think you're then tricking your friends and family to think this is me, there's nothing soft going under the surface?
That's a very good question. I learned to have a good shop front.
Mm-hmm.
I never liked pubs and I never liked crowds. But if I was in there, I would probably look like I'm okay. I can look after myself. But I never walked around trying to be a tough guy. I don't like bullies. I'm not into that kind of thing. But I think I would probably have a stature that would said, you can, don't come near me. But I wouldn't push it on people. I've always been quite, I guess, humble with knowing that I'm quite an open person in that way. So I'm quite lucky that, a lot of people who feel like that do become bullies or have had stuff. And that wasn't the case for me.
Your experiences originally with alcohol are almost funny, I would say, because as a kid, you swore that you would never drink, which I think is such a classic story of lots of people that end up drinking a lot of them. As a kid, they're like, no, I've seen what it does and I'm never going to do it ever. And you didn't really drink. Your first experience was as a 4-year-old drinking all the leftover wine on the dinner table, and then asking was it your grandpa if he was Scooby-Doo or something?
Yeah, something like that. I think I was just calling people characters from cartoons.
That was it. And your parents were, he's acting a bit weird, and then realised, oh, hang on, all of the last sips have gone. The next time was when your mum was in hospital and you drank your grandpa's Guinness, from what I have done the research. Then the third time was this lad's holiday in Mallorca. You can imagine a lad's holiday in Mallorca. I went on a similar one when I was 16. Yeah. You woke up in a flooded bathroom.
Yes.
What happened there?
Yeah, so my parents were actually on holiday, and they said, the guys you're going with drink heavily, so just don't do it. And obviously I did. And I remember going to the bar, having these drinks, and then I don't remember anything else. I just remember waking up on the bathroom floor. I guess what I was trying to do was, I felt it was obviously in summer, it was hot. I just felt so ill that I just wanted to get this feeling away. And I guess I was really dehydrated. So the idea would be to lay on the floor on cold tiles and flood the bathroom. In the condition, I don't even remember. So I probably wasn't even standing up properly. I just was, surviving. The idea, I just literally was like, I needed water. Any normal person would have just took a glass of water.
I like the logic. I like the logic of the drunken brain in that story. It wasn't until you were 19, which I guess is sort of comparatively late, that you tried coke and acid, and you described from then on the floodgates opened. What do you think you took from drugs and alcohol that your other mates, the similar sort of age, weren't getting from it?
I think if you're coming from, like I said, a place of anxiety and fear, then you find something that is the fastest solution to make you feel secure, strong, safe, heroic, funny, good looking, tall, the man in the room, whatever it is, whatever happens to the person. And I feel that that happens more if someone's had trauma. If they haven't, then it's just a drink and a thing and you can feel the difference. But speaking to some friends that have been in the same position to me, and speaking to some friends that have took some substances now and then, I believe there's something different physically with that person and chemically and the experience in their life. And why did it change? I think because I was so scared of doing anything. I like being in control. And I think when you're a sportsman, it's all about discipline and control and stuff like that. So this just gave me this feeling of like belonging and then being like the hero because you can do more than someone else. Or, I tell you what it is as well. I had a fear of communication as a child. And I think that was because I was quite empathetic, but I didn't have the vocabulary to express what I wanted to say. Or if I knew you was saying something that didn't match the feeling I was getting. So what this gave me was a ticket, no pun intended, to communicate with people, because all you have to do, you know what it's like, all you have to do is pass something and then you're in. Or you have to nod to someone to go somewhere. And it's like this secret code, you're in this secret crew, and it gives you this full sense of, I belong, I'm here, I'm part of this little firm. It's amazing until you grow up out of it,
Yeah, I think leaving that is the reason lots of people don't go sober, right? They don't want to be out of the group. Like, we just drink
it's
this
a
drink
herd
and then we're in the
mentality.
gang. Yeah,
It's a
absolutely.
herd mentality. And within that, you have moments of joy, you have funny moments, and it again bonds you to this whole process. It's until you leave that then you realize, oh, yeah.
Funny enough, I was at work drinks last night, and one of the girls said to me, I've only just started this job, and this girl said to me, I wasn't sure if you and I were going to work when you told me you're sober, but you're all right, actually. I thought that is both offensive and sweet in equal measure.
That's quite common. It's weird in our society because you're alienated as a weirdo if you don't drink.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think we were going to become the new 1%.
I think you're right. And it wasn't long after that. So you were 19, when sort of you mentioned the floodgates open. It wasn't long after that your modelling career started. And I've got a bone to pick with you about the way your modelling career started, Paul. You are in hospital getting your appendix out. I was in this same position on my birthday last year. Your mum put you forward for a modelling competition. You find out in hospital that you've got it and you go to the audition, you get it. Photos of me on my birthday last year, Paul, having been in hospital for 2 days, had this operation, I'm not eaten. I have never looked worse in my life. How the hell you won a modelling competition having just come out of hospital, I will never understand.
Yeah.
What was your reaction when your mum's gone, oh, by the way, you're through to this modelling competition? You've gone, I don't even know what modelling is. I'm a boxer.
Yeah, it was funny because obviously it was the last thing. I just wanted to rest. You know what it's like, clearly. It's painful. It's incredibly painful. But I just read it anyway. I was bored. I read it. And it said on there that you get 2-week vacation and a new wardrobe. And I could just think of this new wardrobe. I was like, yeah, do you know what? I could do a free new wardrobe and a holiday as soon as I get out of this joint. So that was my kind of desire, was for that. Nothing to do with the modelling. It was like for the holiday and for the clothes. But when I went up there was a guy called Gary Stretch who has done lots of movies. He was an incredible boxer, professional fighter. And he was on the panel. I think he'd seen me fight at York Hall for the British title or something like that. So we had a little connection. And he gave me a wink like, you're going to do okay. And I just looked around me and there were so many good-looking big fellas that are really strong. I thought I had no chance. So they must have seen something that I didn't see.
Unbelievable. So the modelling industry fascinates me, particularly the way that you describe it. On the one hand, it seemed to give you everything. And on the other hand, it sort of cost you so much. So it gave you your career and money, and you were able to travel the world, which I've heard you mention wasn't common in the area that you grew up with, this idea of going to a different country constantly. But on the other hand, it masked the addiction. You said you weren't really ever that far away from someone who was worse off than you. So you didn't even know you were an addict as long as you're in it. And you said the ability to sort of move city constantly with different shoots. I mean, you can leave this trail of destruction in the background and, no one knows who Paul Sculfor is in the next city. How do you look back on it? Is it with happiness? Is it with, I wonder if my life would have gone differently if I wasn't a model? How do you reflect on it?
I mean, I'm very, very lucky, and I'm very grateful that I fell into it in the 90s. And online it says I was a model in the 90s, but actually I worked fully until just before COVID, actually. Even though I'm old, they kept asking me to come back. But in the 90s, it was a particularly incredible time. And it was because it was not, it wasn't a corporate job in the sense that now a lot of funds own big fashion brands. So it's all down to numbers. It's down to, logic of we just do this shoot on this day and it's done. What else would you want to do? When before, for example, on a fashion shoot, you'll do maximum of 8 pictures a day. It wasn't digital, so it was on film. So you'd have to be very good at what you do. The photographer would have to be incredible at lighting, understand everything. It was about the skill of the person. Now anyone can do it because you can just magically take away lines or whatever. But then as a model, I know it sounds like a bit of a blue steel thing, but you had to know the material you was wearing, how it dropped and what you was doing, the shapes and stuff. So everyone was really enthusiastic. It was a very creative place, but you had the room to play around after. And you had, we were going to incredible locations, like seriously incredible locations. And you usually had a local production team that knew exactly where to go. So it wasn't like being a tourist. It was the opposite. It was like being a local wherever you went. And obviously locals know locals. So you could get what you want wherever you want. And really it was more of a celebration that you're creating something. But there was a very cool and there's something really elegant about it that was fun. So I look back at it in just such good memories and meeting, it's different parts of the fashion business, but you would fly around doing the shows twice a year. So you'd meet everyone, like being at uni, everyone comes together and you'd meet everyone a couple of times a year. So for me, I look back at it with just grateful eyes. In the end, it was a little bit different, but the majority of the career was great.
You obviously had some amazing times there. There was also one particular story that stood out to me as incredibly dark, and I don't want you to share any more than you're comfortable sharing with this, but you're 22 and you're told to go alone to a particular photographer's studio in Paris. And red flags went up immediately for you, but you sort of didn't listen to them because you're 22 and you're in the industry. I don't want to ask you what happened because I don't need details, but I would like to know how that affected you. And did it ever make you think, this isn't for me, I want out?
Actually, I will explain my mindset, my process around it, because I think it's really important for people to hear this, right? Whether they're in, and I can only speak for fashion, TV or film, okay? There's always a leverage, okay? Everyone looks at actors and supermodels as like, they're the best, they're this, but they work for someone. That person works for someone. There's a linear. And so there's a power shift. So what happened to me was everyone was excited about me. And they're like, we found the new guy. He's going to do fragrances. He's going to do a lot of money. And I had jobs lined up for, I think it was 2 fragrances, like 10 campaigns, covers of magazines. So we're talking back then that if you got a fragrance back then, you could buy a house straight away. Same day, you could just go and buy a house. That's how much money you'd get for a fragrance. So I had a lot on the line. And my agent, obviously, at the time, who I haven't seen for a long time, fortunately, would take 20%. So that would have been a lot of money for them too. So I was told to go to this. He was actually a stylist, not a photographer. And he was running all the big shoots and the campaigns. So I actually was working with the guy the next day on a campaign. So they said, well, you need to go to his house to try something on. And I'd only been around for a short period of time. But common sense told me, well, if we're working in the studio tomorrow, why do I have to try something on tonight? And the agent was like, don't ask questions, just go. You have to go. You've got all these jobs online. Don't upset him because you won't get the job. So that's the key sentence. What people tell you is not to upset someone. You have to do well to get this job. Otherwise, someone else is going to get it. So for a young mind, I'm kind of being told what I need to do to get the job.
Hey friends, it's Nikayla from the podcast Side Hustle Pro. I'm always looking for ways to keep my kids entertained without screens, and the Yoto Mini has been a total lifesaver. My kids are obsessed. Yoto is a screen-free audio player where kids just pop in a card and listen. Hours of stories, music, podcasts, and more, and no screens or ads. With hundreds of options for ages 0 to 12, it's the perfect gift they'll go back to again and again. Check it out at yotoplay.com. YOTOPLAY.com.
Are you still running your business with one creaky old phone system? Missing calls, losing track of messages, and scrambling to keep up with your team? It's time to break up with the past and say hello to Quo. Quo is the #1 business phone system with 4.7 stars across 3,000 reviews on G2. Quo brings all your business phone calls and texts into one app for your team. No more juggling devices or being tied to a landline. Quo's built-in AI logs calls, creates summaries, automates follow-ups, and can even answer and route calls so you never miss an opportunity. Whether you're a solo operator or leading a growing team, Quo keeps you connected and helps you deliver standout customer experiences. Join over 90,000 businesses using Quo and see why it's the #1 business phone system for customer satisfaction. Level up your workflow with Quo. Get started free, plus get 20% off your first 6 months at quo.com/business. That's Quo, spelled QUO.com/business. And if you have existing numbers with another service, Quo will port them over for free. Quo, no missed calls, no missed customers.
Which is a complete lie, because if they really like you, you'll get it anyway. So that's what I just want to put out there for people who may be starting in that career. So I said, okay, I'll go, but I want someone to come with me. There was a whole fuss on the phone call, which tells you something anyway. And then someone come with me, and we knocked on his door, and the guy just slammed the door screaming, because I was with someone. How dare you bring someone with you? And then I went to the job the next day. So obviously we didn't need to try anything on. Okay. So I go to the job the next day. This guy was very cold, but he was very, walking around saying, oh, Paul's on the job and he's this and he's going to do these campaigns. And so it was very manipulative in that way. And then the next day, it was a 3-day job. The next day, the agent was like, oh, you have to go to try those clothes on. And I'm like, well, why? We was at the studio. I don't understand. So I knew something was up, clear as day. But what happened was that I listened to you need to go there anyway to do this job and you need to do this. This is a narrative that goes around. So it kind of sounds normal, but my gut feeling was screaming, no, it's not normal. Mm. So I went back there, knocked on the door. I thought, okay, I'll just go there quickly and then just, change. And the guy obviously took advantage of me. And yeah, that turned a switch on for me. And after that experience, especially coming from a boxing background, I had one incident before with someone, and I took care of the situation. So I didn't understand fight and flight and freeze. I didn't know I had the latter bit, and that's what I had. And so I just was in bits. I ran basically for a couple of hours back to where I lived, and then flew back from Paris. Didn't turn up for the job. I got cancelled immediately for everything that was on hold anyway. So that's another lesson, that people shouldn't go there because these guys or girls, whoever it is, they'll just cancel you anyway. It's just rubbish. And fortunately, what happened later on, I was told by, I won't mention their name, an incredibly huge Italian designer had this guy on a job as well. And she saw him trying to manipulate another young man and kicked him out. The whole industry sacked him straight away after that incident, because it was seen. And then from there, loads of people spoke about it, that they'd had problems with this guy. It didn't put me off of the job, because I love the job, and there's so many great people in there that are generally honest, really creative, and you get a bag egg everywhere. And so it wasn't that, but it made me incredibly cautious, and that actually compounded drinking and using, because it's a painkiller.
Of course. And I've heard you describe the fact that you got addicted to work at that time, which you didn't realize was sort of a part of the bigger sort of addiction picture, if you like.
Yeah.
When did you begin to think, hang on a minute, I'm not in control anymore?
Do you know what? I'll be honest. I don't think I even thought about that until I was about 33, until I walked into a rehab. What I was doing, and I understand now with addiction and obsession but there's a crafty thing that if you're a workaholic or you're successful, the accolade, the applause, the money is showing you that there's not a problem. How can there be a problem if you just bought a new place or you've got a new car or you do what you want or you've got investments? There can't be. But I describe it like sprinting. You're on this thing and you're running and it's great and it's okay, but it's not going to last very long, So I around 20, I think it was around 28 or 29, I'd moved to Miami and I kind of was like, I need to slow down a little bit. But it wasn't, I'm out of control, there's a problem. I just thought I need to slow down a bit. It's probably a bit healthier. So that was the only part, I think, until I really burnt out.
So the burnout, you came back from Miami. I think your mum was ill at the time. You went to this golf fundraising dinner. What was it about that night that triggered the sequence of events that led you to walking into a rehab?
Yeah, it's a good question. Those number of events you mentioned actually happened over a year. But I moved from Miami to LA, and I was trying to get away from Miami because it was Miami's fault that there was too many cocktails.
Of course.
And I heard in LA that it shuts at 10:30 at night. But of course, I found all the house parties. But yeah, my mum wasn't well again, and I went home. And then the night that I went out, prior to that, I'd really tried to stop drinking. And anybody can stop drinking, but you can't stay stopped. This is the problem. Anyone can stop using Coke, but you can't stay stopped. So I was really trying through that period of time. And I'd been away with someone also who was trying to stop partying a few weeks before I come back. And what happened was I went to pick some Coke up for someone who'd said, can you pick some Coke up? And I was like, no, I don't do it anymore. And they pretty much laughed at me because I said that so many times. And I was like, I don't do it. Anyway, I picked it up. And of course, I tested it and to make sure it's okay. And that was it, off and running again. Literally. So as soon as, what people don't realize about addiction or alcoholism is as soon as you put something in your body, then you're off and running. There's no stopping and going, okay, that's fine for me. You're done. Yeah. And so I carried on, went to this event. And on the way I think I could call it as a nervous breakdown. I just stopped on I was going to say highway then, but we're not in America, are we? On like a main road. And I literally just started to smash my face against the steering wheel in the car. It was very sad. And I really had a proper breakdown, I think. And carried on, went to the event. And my friend came out and, he's literally like, what happened? And I said I had a fight with a couple of guys in a pickup truck, which was totally untrue. And just to save face. And went there and just drank all the way through and ended up going home. And a few people, I drove some people to mine actually, and they went off into London. And someone left some more drugs there, which I didn't want them to do at that point. And I just ended up doing all the drugs, drinking everything in the flat, smoking all the cigarettes out of the bin. And I just realised that point, I just fell on my knees actually. And I'm not a religious person, but this voice come out of me and just said, if there's any help, I need it. And that's the first time I'd ever asked for help. And I literally went unconscious after that. And so that was the last night. And I ended up, I don't even know if it was the next day or the day after, I ended up in a rehab.
Mm-hmm. And there seem to be 3 standout learnings or moments from your rehab that struck a chord with me. Let me know if I'm accurate with these or if I'm way off, by the way. The first was this line in one of the books that you picked up, part of the 12-step program, that just had a fairly insignificant statement in it about looking the world in the eyes. And that had a huge impact on you, this line. What was it about that line that was a penny drop moment for you?
There's lots of insignificant sentences, lines and words in the world, but when it matches you at that time, they become significant. And it just struck me that I just thought you can look the world in the eye, you can look people in the eye. And I just thought, well, I don't look people in the eye anymore. Why don't I look people in the eye? Who doesn't look people in the eye? And I just started to ask these questions, and it happened very quickly. And I realized that if I don't want to look someone in the eye because I've got so much shame, which was my view about myself at the time, that I don't want you to see it. I don't want you to know who I really am. So therefore, who am I? And I thought at the time, I'm absolutely broken. And, I was going to take my life just before this happened. And I thought, wow, what happened to this kid? I do look at part of my childhood as fond and bubbly, and my mum was amazing and stuff like that. And I just thought, what happened to this guy who had a great career? I was flying around the world 10 minutes ago. Now I'm in this, locked in a rehab. And that struck me because it just awoke me at that moment to who am I? Where am I? What the hell am I doing? Why can't I just look people in the eye? So for me, it was a profound moment that gave me the energy to say, I want to look people in the eye. Like I want to be that person. I want to be at the front of the queue. I want to be accountable. I want to be present. I want to have fun. I've not had fun for so long. So it was a real pivot moment.
I think it's not uncommon for people to have that feeling of I'm broken, but it seems to be less common to then have this wave of energy that follows it to want to drag yourself out of that hole. Where did that sort of inspirational wave of energy and motivation, I'm going to do this, come from?
Do you know what? I think at the time I was 33, I've had friends die. I've seen lots of stuff in life. I have had 9 lives. I really have. I feel like I've seen crazy things and incredible things. It was very quick, but I thought about my mum, my nephews, and I just thought, I'm not my thinking. I'm not what I've been thinking. I've been thinking that I'm useless. I've ruined my job. I'm older. I'm fatter. I can't. And it was just a narrative in my mind that I'd been listening to. So I kind of shook that out and just wanted to reprogram myself. I think it just came from, as a father, it's sometimes it can be very difficult to be pregnant. It's a miracle to have children, and I'm someone's child. So how can I just take that away? And I don't mean that in a way, because lots of people don't do that. But for me, it was like, no, I'm meant to be here. Like I am meant to be here. So let's do it. Let's fight. Let's do it. And that's what it was.
Another significant moment seemed to come, I think it was 10 months into your sobriety, when you walked into an acting class. What did acting give you with regards to sort of expressing emotions? And there's one particular story about psychodrama, which I'd never even heard of, which you need to share.
Oh, yeah. So they're 2 separate things. But psychodrama, I was in this. What I did, I wouldn't recommend it. But what I did, I don't know, maybe it's the old fighter in me. I was like, I'm going to do everything. Like, I don't want any meds. Don't detox me. I'm just going to do this. Psychodrama was to look at trauma. You have 2 seats opposite each other, and you sit as yourself, as the victim of your trauma. And then you pivot to sit in the other seat to play the person that has traumatized you. And I would not recommend someone to do this unless they're 2 years sober and strong. But I volunteered to do it, and I couldn't speak. So I did it on 2 things. And one of them, the lady just said to me, stamp on the floor. So I stamped on the floor, and I came to about 5 minutes later. I just smashed all the chairs in the room, and I just had a real thing. So that was a trauma reaction. And after that, they called an ambulance and see if my hands were okay and stuff and whatnot. But like I said, I wouldn't recommend it unless you're really in a good position. But what it done for me was it kind of just opened the floodgate to allow stuff to come out. So that was my experience with that. And actually it was worth doing in the end, because I just pursued to get rid of this trauma stuff. And the acting thing, I joined a really cool Meisner class. A friend of mine recommended it. And Tom, who's amazing, he's a funny guy. He's a Buddhist monk, and he was sober. Great actor. He's a tough dude, but he's soft on the inside. And he just taught me how to use, in that particular technique. The first thing you do, by the way, is you sit on stage and you do a repeat process. So, for example, you and I would stand there. We'd hold hands and look each other in the eye. So you can't get more intense than that. So that goes back to the line that I read in the book, obviously. And it was about looking people in the eye and being in an intimate space where you're completely uncomfortable. So it taught me how to go through uncomfortable emotions, anger, fear, love, vulnerability, laughter, whatever, in this small ecosystem that was so powerful that I kept running it and doing it. And when I practiced, I did repeating for at least 1.5 years. nearly every day. And what that done, it allowed me not to be intimidated by an emotion or what someone else, sometimes you meet people and you know they don't like you. And you kind of just run away. It's that. So you can sit in that space and you go, okay, so they don't like me. So it taught me how to work my emotions, which is brilliant.
I'm conscious of time, but the third thing that struck a chord with me was somebody told you that the hardest step of all is the doorstep to asking someone for help.
Yes.
And I think, sobriety can feel like the end of something in us, a chapter of our lives, whereas obviously for pretty much everyone, it seems to be the beginning of something. Millions of people, including our listeners, struggle to take that first step. We make up excuses, we'll point the fingers at others who are worse off, we'll listen to podcasts like mine and yours probably, we'll read Quit Lit, we might even go do a sober January or July or October just to prove to ourselves and our friends and family that we can do it. But we won't ask for help. Like, that is giving up, that is too big, that is too frightening, that is admitting you've got a problem, whatever a problem is. And I just thought that was such an important thing to learn, that just taking that first step onto your doorstep towards asking someone for help is the hardest but the most significant one. So I just wanted to thank you for introducing that to my life. How long do you think it was between thinking, I guess you said you never really thought you had a problem. I was going to say, how long do you think it was between you thinking maybe I've got a problem and you taking that first step? But in your situation, was it someone telling you for you that you had a problem and needed to take that step?
No, I think it was the reality of ended up in the rehab and just being, we did one day when we did sort of like, I can't remember the name now, like montages or whatever of our life. And I did mine and I just didn't know who I was. So I think it's in you. I think you come to that point, basically. I think you just come to that point yourself. I wanted to say, sorry, what you were saying is asking for help, right? People forget that they ask for help all the time. When you call for a cab or when you're ordering your food, when you're buying a ticket for the train, when you're always asking for help. If you're a parent, you'll ask, can you pass me the diaper or a nappy? Can you pass me the milk? You're always asking for help, but people don't understand you're always asking for help. So it can be done. It's just pride and ego that will get in the way. Sorry, I just wanted to say that.
No, I mean, that's great. Like us, just going sober didn't seem to be enough for you. There's something in you deep that wanted to give back. And so to help others going down the same roads as you, 2014, you started the Stride Foundation. What is the Stride Foundation? And what is it given you as well as helping others?
It's given me a big headache.
A decade of headaches.
Time. I think that when you're drinking or using, sorry, my little dog wants to go out. When you're drinking or using, I'm just going to click the door to let her go out.
Yeah, sure.
You become very selfish and life becomes about yourself, your needs, and you don't realize it because they feel like they are important to you and don't you understand and stuff. So I felt like I'd taken a lot in that thing. And what people forget as well is that sometimes you meet these people that have stolen and robbed and stuff like that, and then you get some people say, I've never done that. But everyone who drinks and takes drugs steals. And what they steal is the peace of mind from others. So you'll steal the peace of mind from your partner or your parents or friends or whatever, and not realizing that actually that's what you're doing. You're taking. So for me, I wanted to give back. I wanted do you know what? I feel like maybe in some cultures or older generations that people would share things, knowledge, whether it's mechanics or business do, whatever, they'd share stuff. And I think that's kind of gone. So I feel like it's important to share knowledge. And if you can share something with someone, you might save that person's life, literally, or someone around them by sharing something. It just takes one sentence of honesty. And I think that's really powerful. And what we decided to do with Stride Foundation was to pay. Fortunately, I had insurance to take me to this rehab. Some people don't have it, obviously. And we wanted to pay to help people to have that same goal. But I did it myself and I vetted everyone because some people just want a holiday. They want to go to a rehab and to come out again. So we put smaller amounts of people in, but we smothered them when they came out. And most of them have become sober and helped other people and stuff. And what we done in COVID, we pivoted to giving people therapy online. So we had a group of therapists and we just connected them and pay for that. And then 6 months ago, we started a school program, a pilot program, where we'd take people into schools that have had drink or alcohol problems, but are way sober. They're either coaches, psychiatrists, or people that have worked in treatment centres, to give a straight talk from experience to the kids, just to teach them about peer pressure, because peer pressure is one of the hardest things. It's one of the most difficult things, and people always skip over it. Right. And it's that herd mentality thing. You're not belonging if you don't come in, and self-esteem as well. It's like we teach them even about phones. If you stick a picture up, what would make you take the picture down? And it would be if I don't have enough likes. And what does that mean? Well, it's self-esteem, and they don't know. So we just put them in the picture, basically. So Stride's doing that now. We're pivoting to doing that. And this is powerful, the podcast I wanted to put on top, because I deliberately disappeared for some time to focus on myself, my family, and I wanted to bring myself back out and use my name to highlight Stride Foundation. So that's what we're doing.
I love it. I think it's fantastic. I want to finish, Paul, just by thanking you, actually. I consume a lot of sobriety content, as you can imagine, for my work. And every now and then something pierces through it which has a profound impact. One of the things that I've certainly questioned, as lots of our listeners have, is that how can you socialize without alcohol? Will it ever be the same as it was before? And your approach actually inspired me. So you said that the courage, the fun, and the conversation of socializing is not found in the glass, it's in the people. And I think that is something that is so easy to forget. It's a simple message, and I think it's more than a message for me. That is a mindset, and I think a mindset can change the world. And I wanted to thank you for that, for the simplicity of that beautiful line.
Thank you very much.
Not at all. Well, thank you so much for coming on Sober Awkward. I will invite as many people to your podcast. This is powerful. To the Stride Foundation website. We'll leave all the links. But yeah, I really appreciate you coming on and spending some time with me.
That's been nice. Thank you very much.
Cheers, Paul.
If you're questioning your relationship with booze, you're struggling to moderate, or your hangovers are causing anxiety, it might be time to reach out for some support.
Yeah, just talk to a mate about how you're feeling, contact a local doctor, find an AA or sobriety group. Vic's got one.
Yeah, just head to www.cuppa.community.
Remember, if you're questioning yourself, it might be time to seek support.
Even though this journey can be awkward, it is definitely worth it. And if you've enjoyed the Sober Awkward podcast, don't forget to review it, rate it, and share it with your mates.
Do they have to share it with their mates?
Yeah, of course they do. I'm not doing this for nothing, Hamish. Bloody hell.
How do they share it?
I don't know, just write it on the...
Hey friends, it's Nikayla from the podcast Side Hustle Pro. I'm always looking for ways to keep my kids entertained without screens, and the Yoto Mini has been a total lifesaver. My kids are obsessed. Yoto is a screen-free audio player where kids just pop in a card and listen. Hours of stories, music, podcasts, and more, and no screens or ads. With hundreds of options for ages 0 to 12, it's the perfect gift they'll go back to again and again. Check it out at yotoplay.com. YOTOPLAY.com.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my site softer?
Can I make my site firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. Enjoy personalized comfort for better sleep night after night. It's our Black Friday sale. Recharge this season with a bundle of cozy, soothing comfort. Now only $17.99 for our C2 mattress and base, plus free premium delivery. Prices higher in Alaska and Hawaii. Check it out at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com today.
If you're a custodial supervisor at a local high school, you know that cleanliness is key. And that the best place to get cleaning supplies is from Grainger. Grainger helps you stay fully stocked on the products you trust, from paper towels and disinfectants to floor scrubbers. Plus, you can rely on Grainger for easy reordering, so you never run out of what you need. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
as you probably know, my comedy memoir, 1,000 Wasted Sundays, is officially out. All my magnificent fuck-uppery in one awkward hit. If you'd like to get your hands on a copy, it's now available from all good bookstores.
We always say all good bookstores, don't we?
Yeah.
Are there bad bookstores?
No, it's probably ones with moody sellers.
Oh, yeah, really depressed librarian folk.
Yes,
okay,
good. So there are probably some, but we're only storing it in the good ones.
It's only made it into the goodies.
You can also get it from all good online retailers. The print version and ebook are out now, and the audiobook will be available in March. I've been writing my memoir for 5 years. It will make you laugh, cry and cringe, and hopefully inspire a few people to reconsider their relationship with booze. If you love the podcast, then I think you'll love the book, even if I do say so myself. Hamish has read it. What did you think?
I feel like I know a little bit too much about you now, to be honest, Vic. Look, I really loved it. It was hilarious and surprisingly moving, but I feel like I've seen you naked in a literary sense.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's worrying.
Yeah. From an emotional point of view, seriously, it wobbled my teeny weeny wooden heart, Vic.
Okay.
My teeny little wooden heart.
Well, his wooden heart is broken. Anyway, so if you do manage to get your filthy mitts on a copy, please do me a favour and head to goodreads.com and give me a review. Doing that will help me get it out there to those that need a bit of sober support. So there you have it. My story, unwanted warts and all. Come and get awkward with me.
Not to be too demanding or anything, but seriously, go and buy it now.
Go and buy it. Go and buy it right now.
Yeah, don't just tell your friends, buy it, and then buy your friends one or two.
Yeah, don't give them a copy, buy it. Yeah.
And you know what? Don't be careful where you store it. If you lose it, you can always buy another 5.
Buy another one.
Yeah.